The night sky over Sector 9 was alive with distant flares of dying stars and the slow dance of drifting debris. In a ramshackle workshop perched on the edge of a rocky outcrop, Kai Anders wiped grease from his hands and studied the flickering console lights. He'd just finished a late repair on a freighter's hyperdrive, and the hum of power converters winding down was like a lullaby, until a sudden ping shattered the silence. "Another emergency beacon?" Kai muttered, glancing at his daughter Mara, who lounged on a stack of hover crates. Her wide eyes reflected the glow of his screens. "What do you think, kiddo?" Mara hopped to her feet, brushing her sandy curls behind one ear. "Maybe it's alien treasure, Dad, or a space monster." Kai chuckled. "Space monsters more likely." He tapped a few keys. The beacon's signature was huge, much bigger than any standard vessel. The coordinates lay deep in an uncharted swath of open space, a place rumor said was littered with the husks of lost explorers. "Gear up," Kai said, retrieving his weathered toolkit. "We might have a real challenge on our hands." Mara sprang down from the crates, enthusiasm rolling off her. She followed her father outside into the chill night air. The workshop's launch bay doors creaked open, revealing the Valkyrie's wrench, their trusty one-man haul. Kai climbed into the cockpit, guiding Mara into the co-pilot's seat. She buckled in, her grin infectious. "Engines online," Kai announced, voice calm despite the thrill tingling in his veins. He punched the thrusters, and the little craft leapt off its magnetic pads. As they cleared the cavernous bay, Kai switched to external cameras. At first, there was nothing but the glittering expanse. Then a shape materialized on the horizon. It was a ship unlike anything in official databanks. Towering perhaps 3 times the length of the Valkyrie's wrench, its hull undulated with living biometal ridges, glowing veins of indigo light pulsing like a heartbeat. The vessel drifted, engines dark, its surface scarred by recent damage. "Whoa," Mara breathed. "It's beautiful." Kai's trained eye flicked to his readouts. "And broken. Let's see what we've got." He brought the craft alongside, matching its slow tumble through space. Outside, the void pressed in, silent, cold, infinite. With practiced precision, Kai suited up and depressurized the cabin. Mara watched through the viewport as her father drifted across the void, tethered by a single line. He reached the ship's hull and ran his hand over the paling glow of the damaged plating. Strange symbols, half inscriptions, half living art, rippled under his gloves. He applied a magnetic clamp and undocked his portable scanner. Hull integrity's at 20%. Power core offline, but life sign readings are off the charts. Whoever or whatever was piloting this is still aboard. His universal translator crackled to life, and a faint mechanical voice whispered, "Help! Me." Kai's pulse jumped. "Got company." He traced the nearest airlock seal and set to work with his plasma cutter. Sparks showered into the void. Within minutes, the hatch gave way. Inside, the chamber yawned vast and dark. Electroglyphs traced the walls, and at its center sat a gauntleted control throne, streaked with cooling coolant trails. No pilot in sight, until movement flickered at the far end of the room. A figure emerged from the gloom, taller than any human, with limbs like sculpted obsidian and skin etched in shifting, fractal patterns of violet and cerulean light. She stood silent, head tilted as if studying these small intruders. Her eyes glowed molten gold, intelligent, wary, and infinitely ancient. Kai activated the translator again. "I'm Kai Anders. My daughter and I came here to help. Is anyone hurt?" The alien cocked her head, and a soft chorus of frequencies hummed in the air. Suddenly, the gilded patterns across her skin brightened. The translator caught a fragment. "My ship." Kai exhaled, tension easing. "I can fix this. With your help. Can you guide me to the engine room?" Her gaze drifted past him to the starfield beyond the open hatch. Then she spoke a single word through the translator. "Follow." And with that, she strode deeper into the shadowed corridors of her crippled vessel, leading Kai and Mara into an adventure that none of them could have foreseen. The hidden bay beneath the cavernous rock spire glowed with stray shafts of bioluminescent algae that clung to the cavern walls. Kai's cramped workshop, built into a lattice of alloy girders and reclaimed starship panels, looked tiny compared to the alien leviathan moored in its cradle. Sparks drifted like fireflies as Kai and Mara unloaded crates of Earth-standard tools and scavenged parts. Lear Vasha, Lear, as Mara had quickly christened her, watched with serene patience. Her towering form was at odds with the delicate machinery Kai spread out. Coils of copper tubing, stacks of microfusion cells, and a tangled skein of quantum fiber optics. Every now and then, one of the alien conduits in her ship would pulse, in response as though greeting an old friend. Mara scampered forward, clutching a plasma torch nearly as big as she was. "Can I help, Dad?" she asked, eyes bright. Kai ruffled her hair. "Sure. Hand me that nano-lubricant spray, will you?" He squeezed between glowing engine pylons and the ship's living hull, tapping his universal translator for clarity. "Lear, I'm going to need to reroute your coolant loop. The original lines fractured from the crash." Lear leaned over the manifold, her fractal-patterned skin shimmering. "I do not understand your tools," she admitted in halting galactic. "Common," translated into Kai's voice as gentle reassurance. "Will it hurt the ship?" "Not at all," Kai said, sliding a flexible coupling into place. "Think of it like a blood vessel. You're just opening a new vein so the coolant can flow around the blocked section." He sprayed the joint with his nano-lubricant. A soft hiss sounded as the seal hardened in seconds. Mara pressed her face to a viewport. "Wow, it's like surgery," she whispered. Lear's golden eyes followed Mara, and for a moment she seemed almost amused. Once the coolant rerouting was secure, Kai set to work on Lear's bioether capacitors, gleaming crystalline chambers that glowed with an inner light. Their charge regulator had been knocked offline, and without it the ship couldn't stabilize its fusion surge. Kai removed his glove and placed his hand on the nearest capacitor. To his surprise, the crystal pulsed beneath his palm, almost as if recognizing him. "It's alive," he murmured, eyes wide. Lear stepped closer. "They are sentient constructs," she explained. "We bond with them at birth. They choose their pilot." Kai's jaw dropped. "That's amazing." He carefully attached a makeshift adapter, an Earth-designed power coupler to splice into the chamber's triphase interface. The crystal's glow steadied, settling into a smooth, rhythmic heartbeat. As the hours passed, sparks gave way to low hums. Scattered clusters of warning lights around the ship winked out one by one. Kai wiped his brow, stretching sore muscles. "Okay, next up, the gravitic dampeners." He pointed to a cluster of domed emitters along the hull's underside. "These keep your ship from tearing itself apart during high-G maneuvers. They're shot, but I can recalibrate them with some of these Earth grav coils." Lear observed silently, her regal bearing unchanged even as she bent to inspect his parts. Slowly, she began to speak more fluidly in galactic common, curious about each process. "On Astralin, we use alpha phase coils. You're using beta phase? Why?" Kai grinned. "Work smarter, not harder. Your coils need ultra-pure crystal matrices. Can't get those on the black market. But these will do the trick for now, and they're easier to replace if you have another mishap." He slid a coil into place, tightened the clamps, and enrolled it into the ship's central matrix via his datapad. Mara, paint-smeared and entranced, asked Lear to teach her an Astralin word. Lear's delicate mandibles twisted into what Kai recognized as amusement. "Try this. Nari Shah. It means light of the stars." Mara repeated it, giggling at her own accent. Lear laughed, a sound like wind through crystal, and for a moment the workshop felt warmer than any forge. By the time the final module clicked into place, the bay lights dimmed to echo the ship's restored hum. Kai activated his console. Readouts lined up perfectly. Coolant pressure stable, capacitor resonance phase locked, dampeners at 98% efficiency. With a triumphant grin, he announced, "All systems nominal. Give me 10 minutes to run a full diagnostic sweep." Lyre approached, her massive form stooped to Kai's level. "You have done more than fix my ship," she said, her voice soft. "You have healed a part of me I did not know was broken." Kai was struck by the weight of her words. He nodded, fatigue and pride mingling in his expression. "Just doing my job, but I'm glad I could help." Mara threw her arms around Lear's ankle. "Thank you," she squealed. Lear knelt, her fractal patterns rippling in a cascade of violet light. "Thank you, little one." As Kai watched, he realized this was no ordinary repair job. This was the beginning of something far bigger than any rusted freighter, or any earthly paycheck, could ever promise. The cavernous hangar doors rumbled open, revealing the vast expanse of the crimson-hued nebula. Meteoroid fragments, glowing embers of rock and ice, plummeted through the sky in the meteor shower known as the Firefall. Kai steadied his breath as the raw beauty of the storm painted streaks of orange, violet, and white across the void. Lear's ship, now humming with renewed life, sat poised on its launch cradle. Mara clutched Kai's hand, her eyes wide with excitement. "I've never seen anything so close," she whispered. Kai offered her a reassuring smile. "Watch your head," he said, handing her a set of noise-canceling comm earbuds. "Things might get loud." He turned to Lear, who stood tall and serene, her fractal-patterned skin alight with nervous anticipation. Lear inclined her head. "Ready whenever you are, Captain Anders." Kai tapped the control panel. Lights blinked green. The bio-ether capacitors thrummed. Outside, a massive boulder streaked past, close enough that starlight gleamed against its jagged face. Kai initiated ignition. The ship's fuselage glowed from the inside out as the quantum flux engines roared to life. Gravity dampeners shimmered in a halo beneath the hull. With a lift that rattled every bolt in the hangar, the Leviathan rose into the tempest. High above, Kai braced against the railing of the small observation deck as Lear guided the ship through the swirling meteor trails. Mara, seated beside Lear on the control bridge, pressed her face against the transparent viewports, mesmerized by the kaleidoscope of plasma trails. "Steady," Lear murmured, her voice calm. Fingers, the length of Kai's forearm, danced over. Alien controls. "I'm feeling a fluctuation in the starboard thrusters," Kai's console chirped warnings. He sprinted across the catwalk, tweaking valves and rerouting power. "Divert 10% from the port manifold to balance vector thrust," he called out, adrenaline lacing his tone. Lyre executed the maneuver flawlessly, and the ship righted itself mid-drift. A cluster of ice shards shattered against the hull, leaving only microscopic cracks already sealing thanks to Kai's repaired biometal plating. A triumphant laugh escaped Mara's lips. "We're doing it." But the exhilaration was short-lived. Scanners blinked red. A formation of Imperial corvettes, sleek, weapon-laden vessels, jolted into view at the nebula's edge. "Imperial patrol," Lear said, tension creeping into her voice. "They must have tracked my transponder." Kai's jaw clenched. "They'll board us if we slow down. We've got to lose them in the firefall." Lear's eyes glittered. "Hold on." The ship dipped into the densest part of the meteor storm. Rocks whizzed past like cannonballs. Lyre pushed the engines beyond routine limits, the vessel groaning in protest. Kai monitored core stability. Heat levels spiked, but the auxiliary coolant loop held. Sparks of violet lightning arced across the hull from the overcharged bioether. Capacitors, spectacular, dangerous beauty. Imperial scanners flickered in and out, unable to lock onto them through the storm's interference. One corvette fired, a beam of emerald energy slicing through the haze. Kai grabbed Mara, pulling her behind a reinforced console. The blast struck the hull, sending a shockwave that rattled the entire ship. "Shields down to 50%, Kai shouted, hands flying across alien controls to reinforce the gravitic dampeners. He tapped a hidden Earth standard override he'd rigged into the interface. The ship bucked, then stabilized. Lear banked sharply, weaving through a cluster of ice fragments. The corvettes followed blindly, taking micrometeor hits that disabled their targeting arrays. One by one, they fell back, crippled by collisions. Finally, the storm's outer veil swallowed them. Silent nebula mist curled around the ship as Lear cut the engines. The only sound was the soft pulse of restored heart-like hum from the capacitors. Kai exhaled, gripping Mara tight. She peered over her shoulder at him, eyes sparkling. "We did it, Dad." Lear stood and offered Kai her gauntleted hand. "Without your ingenuity, I would be floating wreck in the abyss. You have my gratitude. And my awe." Kai shook her hand, marveling at how small his felt against her towering grip. "We make a good team," he said. Mara hopped down and ran to Lear. "Can I call you Captain?" Lear laughed, the crystalline sound echoing through the bridge. "Captain Lear Vasha, if you like." As the haze of the firefall cleared, the three of them, human, child, alien princess, stood united aboard the Leviathan. In that moment, none of them could have foreseen the consequences of their escape. New alliances forged in cosmic fire, and a destiny far greater than any single starship. A soft hum filled the cramped briefing room of the hidden relay station, its walls lined with holographic data feeds and the muted glow of star charts. Kai, Mara, and Lear Vasha sat at a curved metal table scarred by age and countless clandestine meetings. Beyond the reinforced viewports, the pale rings of a gas giant drifted through the void, a silent witness to their conversation. Lear traced a fingertip over the war-torn console in front of her, as though drawing strength from its stability. "What I must tell you, I have kept hidden even from myself," she began, voice low. Kai leaned forward. "Anything you share is safe here." Mara curled at his side, curiosity shining in her eyes. Taking a steady breath, Lear peeled back the high collar of her flight vest to reveal a polished breastplate beneath, etched with 3 golden comets chasing a phoenix flame. "This is the royal crest of Astralin," she said. "I am Princess Lear Vasha Arinthiel, heir to the greatest throne in known space." Mara's mouth fell open. "You mean empire?" Lear's fractal-patterned skin flickered with hesitation. "Yes. My family rules over 2,000 star systems, commands fleets of living dreadnoughts, and wields power beyond imagining. But after my parents' deaths, I could not bear the weight of politics, the endless intrigues and blood debts. So I fled, seeking purpose beyond a throne I did not want." Kai's breath caught. He paused, searching her golden eyes. "So, all this time you thought of yourself only as a stranded pilot?" Lear nodded. "I had no memory of who I truly was until that crash. The crest, my title, even the palace in the sky. I had buried it, but now you know." A tense silence followed, punctuated only by the distant pulses of the station's life support. Kai rubbed his jaw. "The Imperials will never stop hunting you. If they learn you survived, they'll track you here." Lear's jaw tightened. "That is why I need your help again. My ship, even repaired, cannot make the jump through the cerulean rift without detection. I require a stealth module, something that can mask my biosignature and bypass Imperial scanners." Kai's fingers itched toward his tool belt. "I can build that, but it won't be simple. Your ship's systems are living, bonded biologically. I'll have to design interfaces that won't anger your capacitors or crash your flux drives." Mara piped up. "Promise me you'll both be safe." Lear reached across and placed her huge gauntlet over Mara's hand. "Your father has saved my life twice over. I will not let him down." Kai met Lear's gaze. "All right, I'll do it. But when it's done, you have to promise to offer us more than just a ride home. My daughter deserves a chance to see the stars she's already started to love." Lear's fractals blossomed into a soft violet pattern, the alien equivalent of a smile. "Done." The three of them rose, sealing their pact beneath the viewport's starlit canvas. Lear guided them through encrypted channels to requisition rare crystals from the station's black market stores, while Kai sketched schematics on a holopad, quantum vanishing lenses, biosync dampeners, an adaptive subspace cloaking field. Night turned to the station's perpetual twilight as they worked side by side. Kai soldering delicate circuit filaments, Mara translating high-order Astralin glyphs for the module's interface, and Lear monitoring each step with a careful, grateful pride. When at last the framework of the stealth module lay complete, a lattice of living crystal and Martian titanium, the hum of possibility thrummed through the bay. Lear placed her hand on the crystalline frame. With this, I can return to Astralin not as fugitive, but as the heir who vanished and now returns in peace. Kai nodded, exhaustion and excitement warring in his chest. Then let's give you that homecoming. Mara hopped onto Kai's shoulders, peering up at Lear. Next stop, princess party. Lyre laughed, the sound like wind chimes in 0G. Indeed, little one. And so, in the hidden shadows of a rebel station, the richest princess in the universe revealed her true self, and forged a bond of trust with a single human dad and his daughter that would echo far beyond the rings of that silent gas giant. Dawn's pale light filtered through the station's observation dome as Kai tightened the final stabilizer clamp on the stealth module. The crystalline lattice, assembled from rare astral shards and earth-forged alloys, glowed faintly, its circuits humming in sympathetic resonance with Lear's ship. Mara, exhausted but exhilarated, inspected the wiring alongside her father. It fits perfectly, Kai said, wiping sweat from his brow. Just a few data link calibrations and we're ready. Lear Vasha watched them with quiet pride. She knelt beside the module, her gauntleted hand brushing its surface. The crystal veins pulsed in time with her heartbeat. Thank you, Kai. This will not only mask my presence, it will safeguard my people. Kai tapped at his datapad, uploading the final subspace encryption keys. We're good. Let's see how she flies. They transported the module to the hidden hangar. As they hoisted it toward the ship's dorsal intake, Imperial alert signals suddenly blared through the station's comm network. Red lights winked on the bulkhead pylons. An officer's urgent voice crackled. All hands, intruder alert in Bay 3, prepare to engage. Kai's heart leapt. They've tracked us down already. Lear rose swiftly, her eyes flashing gold. Escort me to my ship. Escort her. She gestured to Mara, who scurried after Kai. Together they dashed through labyrinthine corridors, alarms wailing around them. Blaster fire erupted as armored troopers spilled into the hangar. Kai yanked Mara behind a cargo crate while Lear sidestepped. Plasma bolts, her massive form a living shield. Sparks flared where energy bolts struck her hull plating. But the princess stood unbowed. Focus on the module, Kai yelled. He slid the panel open, connecting power conduits. Almost there. A trooper loomed at the hatch. Mara shouted, Daddy! Kai grabbed a spare grav coil and hurled it at the soldier. The electromagnetic pulse scrambled the trooper's armor systems, sending him crashing into a stack of crates. Lyre seized the moment, sweeping the remaining troops aside in a graceful, powerful arc. Her fractal skin glowed brighter with each movement, a living testament to her noble heritage. At last, the stealth module snapped into place. The ship's dorsal hull shimmered as the living crystal merged with its biometal plating. Lyre's voice, calm and commanding, filled the bay. Initiate phase cloak. Engines thrummed. The ship's surface rippled, vanishing from sight as subspace shadows enveloped it. The troopers' scanners flickered, unable to lock on. With a final roar, the Leviathan lifted off, soaring through the bay's ceiling and disappearing into the nebula's haze. Kai scooped Mara into his arms as the hangar doors sealed. They watched the empty sky, hearts pounding. Mara giggled, relieved. We did it, Dad. Kai hugged her close, pride and awe mingling in his chest. Yeah, kiddo, we did it. Across the void hidden by the stealth field, Lear piloted her restored ship toward Astralin. She gazed back through the sensor array at the tiny speck of the rebel station. A soft violet glow suffused her fractals. Until we meet again, she whispered. Her promise carried on the engines of destiny.